So at this point, we now have enough information to accurately let you know when you're going to see your stimulus payout, either a direct deposit or a check that is going to be sent to your address. Now, depending on which category you fall into, you're going to see that payout at a different time. And that's really the goal of this episode, to let you know when you can expect to see it. Now, in order to compile this list of when you're going to see it and to show you on the calendar, I wanted to let you know where my sources of information were coming from. Firstly, I went to Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, who's been giving a lot of press releases on this and a lot of information. I went to the U.S. Treasury Department and the Internal Revenue Service, both under the same umbrella. I went to their page and looked at every piece of information they had given out about these dates. I went to the director of the U.S. Economic National Council, Larry Kudlow, and he's been giving out some information. And Michigan's 12th Congressional District Rep. Debbie Dingell, who has really gotten a lot of press now because she's released some timeline information. And I made sure that all of these different people, the information they were giving out, agreed, so that when I tell you and I show you the calendar dates that you're going to receive these payouts, that it is the most accurate possible. I also made sure I backed this up by looking at some publications and reportings from the Washington Post, from Forbes, from CNET, and the reporting of the Associated Press. I would also like to let you know at the end of this video, I am going to show you the IRS resource that will let you know the status of your stimulus payout. And this is an important resource. A lot of people want to know, what is the status of my payout? If you don't receive it, I'm going to show you exactly where you can go to see that. So with that said, let's take a look at the timeline. Now, this is a basic timeline. I'm going to get a little bit more in detail here in just a moment. But if you filed your 2018 or 2019 taxes and you get a direct deposit, you are first on the list to get your stimulus payout. If you are SSA, SSDI, and RRB, you are second on the list if you get a direct deposit. If you file 2018 or 2019 taxes and your return comes as a check in the mail, you are third on the list depending on your income. So it is scaled based off of income. I'll show you what that looks like. If you get Social Security, Disability, and RRB, and you get a check as your payment, you are also third on the list, tied with the tax filers. And finally, I have SSI and VA, a direct deposit or a check. It doesn't matter which one. I have a question mark there because the U.S. Treasury and the IRS have still not clarified this information. But rest assured, based off of all the reports I've seen and every information I've gotten in the last month, I am going to tell you when I believe you can expect to see those payouts. So I'll give you that information as well. So let's go ahead and look at the calendar chart here for April 2020. Now you can see on this infograph, I have indicated that if you filed 2018 and 19 and you get a direct deposit, your color is that green, that teal. If you get Social Security, Disability, or RRB, your color is red. And if you file taxes or you get Social Security and you get a check payment, then you're going to be indicated by that blue if you receive between $0 and $10,000. So you can see there on the calendar, I've indicated two different X's. Now that's the first part where we had a little bit of discrepancy, and all the sources I looked at is when are the first initial direct deposits going to start. It's either going to be on the 13th or the 15th. Either one of those days, there was a little bit of disagreement. Some people were even saying the 9th and the 10th. That was completely wrong. This is the most accurate information, but it doesn't really matter when they start it, because if it's the 13th or the 15th, your week to get your stimulus payout, if you receive direct deposit and you filed your taxes, is between the 13th and the 17th. So by the end of the business day on the 17th, nearly 60 to 70 million people are going to receive their stimulus payouts. Is there going to be some problems with it? Yeah. Are millions probably going to be left out and should have gotten it? Yeah. That's why you want to stick with me to the end of this video so I can show you the IRS resource where you can check on the status of your payout if you're not seeing it. Now, if you are Social Security, Disability, or RRB, your payout week is going to be 10 days after the initial payouts start. Now that leaves a little bit of discrepancy right there too. 10 what days? 10 business days? 10 regular days? Are the payouts going to start on the 13th or the 15th? Now, regardless which one it is, I can pretty much accurately let you know if you're Social Security or Disability or RRB, your direct deposits are going to be made to your account between the 27th and the 1st of May. That is when you can expect them to occur. Also, if you file taxes or your Social Security or Disability and you receive a check as the means of your income or your return, then you can also expect that between the days of the 27th to May 1st is when you're going to receive that check in the mail. They indicated to us through all of those resources that the 24th is going to be the day of the mailing out of the checks. So if they're going to mail them out on the 24th, you're not going to get your check on the 24th. So I would expect that throughout the next week, that's when the checks are going to start to arrive at different addresses, depending on when the IRS processes those checks or the Treasury processes those checks and your address in the United States. This is everyone who's going to receive a payout in April. Any other person who's going to receive a payout is going to be May or the later months. So taking a look here at May, what I did in this infographic is I separated your income based on color because they're going to be mailing out checks based off of your income. So the checks that are going to be mailed out for those making $10,000 to $20,000 are going to be on Friday, meaning the week you can expect to see it is between the 4th and the 8th. If you receive $20,000 to $30,000, those checks are going to be mailed out on the 8th. So you can expect to see it between the 11th and the 15th. If you earn $30,000 to $40,000, you can expect to see your check between the 18th and the 22nd. If you earn between $40,000 and $50,000, the 25th to the 29th. And then obviously now we're marking into June here as we go on. Here's the thing though, mailing out checks and processing all this information is sort of complicated and it takes a lot of work to do it. So I am expecting to see a backlog on this, especially as that's why they want people to be getting the direct deposit, because when you start dealing with paperwork and having to get all the information to mail these things out, this is going to be backlogged. So by no means do I expect this to actually run smoothly. And that's why the IRS and the Treasury said that the checks are going to be mailed out May, June, July, August, September. It's going to take 5-6 months to get this all done. But this is the timeline they're giving out right now. So I figured I'd give it to you, but completely expect a backlog on the mailing out of the checks. And that finally leaves us, before I show you the IRS's resource to check your stimulus payout with SSI and VA, because they have not clarified this information at all as of the 10th of April. But I want to share with you, based off of everything that I've seen in the last month and all the information that I've heard, I would expect that if you are SSI or VA, that you would see your direct deposit or your check between the dates of May 4th and May 15th. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, most people who receive these get direct deposit. And so direct deposit is not a difficult way to send out payments. And although they don't have their act together now, they should be able to get their act together within the next couple of weeks to get the payments out by May. In addition, we're seeing Social Security getting their payout the last week of April. And so I would expect that they would be able to do these ones either the week after or the following week. And so this, I think, is a reasonable expectation. In addition, if they don't get the SSI and VA payments out by the 15th and it's still the 18th and they haven't been made, they're going to get so much pushback and bad press from that. They are not going to want that situation to occur. And that's another reason why I believe you can reasonably expect to see your payouts here. Now, some people are still concerned on whether you need to do a simple tax filing or go to TURBOTAX or whatever. I don't believe you need to do any of that. Still, the IRS and the Treasury hasn't released any information about that, but I don't think you're going to have to. If you want to, you can. Even if you make $0, you can still file taxes. So if you want to make sure, you can go to INTUIT TurboTax's free resource. I'll leave you a link to that below. You can put in $0 income and you can go ahead and file if you want, but I wouldn't suggest it because you're really not required to file and the IRS has not said that you are. So I personally would just wait, and I think that they're going to switch up and they're going to give you your stimulus payments on these days. Now, as promised, I said I would show you the IRS resource where you can check the status of your refund. So here it is. This is the official IRS resource. I will leave you the link for that below. I do also want to say this to you. Do not trust anything on social media or text or anything people might send out to you that are indicating that it's a source you should be plugging in your information to, unless it's the official IRS source. I personally didn't even put my social security number into this. That's how skeptical I am of anything. But if for some reason you get to a point where you're like, I have not seen my check at all, this is the resource to go to. You would just put in your Social Security, how you file, and your refund amount, and then you press submit. But I wouldn't even use the IRS's resource unless you really, really need to. That's how skeptical you should be about putting your information in anywhere, especially depending on what computer you're using, if you're tied to shared networks and other things like that. but I figured I would give you this resource because the IRS gave it out, and so you can go ahead and have that. I hope you guys found this information valuable. As always, I would encourage you, if you like this sort of information given out in simple way with the infographics, consider subscribing to the channel. We are going to continue to do this with all of the mess and complication of this situation that's being done with this stimulus package going into the future, and also the possibility, the really high possibility that there's going to be a second stimulus package that's going to be passed. And when I say second, it's really the fourth one, but the second one that's going to indicate direct deposits and payouts to American citizens. So if you want to be kept up to date with that as well, also consider subscribing to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, we will catch you next time.